I'm trying to. Okay, if I can get her attention, we're over here. All right.
Call this meeting to order Tuesday, February 28th, 2023, Mason County Board of Education regular business meeting, agenda number 22-30 here at the Mason County Board of Education office at 6 p.m. All members are present with Mrs. Tennant joining us by phone. Please stand for the pledge. Mary, will you lead us in the pledge? Led by Mary.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so lots of recognitions this evening. We are going to start with our regional science fair winners. So when I call your name, we have a certificate for you, and if you'll just stay up here, I know that there will be some folks that want some pictures, so we can just kind of line up back here. So first, we have Marissa Thomas. Cooper Withrow. Addison Withrow. Ezekiel Martindale. Eliana Martindale. Willow Eagles. I may not pronounce this one correctly. Mace Badron. Jason Lee. Liam St. Clair. Lucas Stewart. Jameson Pearson. Callie Allen. Gabrielle Jefferson. James Adkins. Chaz Tilka. Selena Brown. Savannah Decker. Peyton Barnett. McKenna Hull. Kira Tatterson. And Addison Burton. So all of you guys are first place winners at the regional fair. All right, congratulations. Everybody ready? In our- We'll sit in front and then. Yeah, maybe not. You guys might have to. Oh, we can see you. Yeah. Yeah, you want to be front center. Come on. Come more center. Come on. I wasn't talking to him. Congratulations and good luck Monday. Next up, we have some county math field day winners. Gabe Supple. Alexandria Johnson. Declan Century. Jack Donahue. Mary Supple. Abel Ricker. Cutler Louise. Ezekiel Ezekiel Martindale. Back again. Congratulations. Kaiden Reuter. Trace Johnson. Levi Russell. Sean Delacruz. Moses Mankin. Elijah Northup. Jaden Stewart. Emma Wilson. Cody Moore. Weston Starkey. Carter Price. Peter Davis. Brian Matheny. Addison Burke. Tegan Scott. Sawyer Van Meter. Amber Wolf. Josiah Lloyd. Michael Van Meter. Lauren Weaver. All right, we got another one. Bailey Smith. Andrew Roush. Savannah Siders. Joshua Cade. Ethan Gray. And Ashton Broman. Congratulations to all of you here. So these kids compete in the regional on Thursday. Are you guys ready for that? Yeah. You got a big couple, you have a big couple weeks or next week, huh? Everybody's gonna come right up and run, don't be shy, right? Let's just do here. It's not a big Carter Price. Good luck to all of you on Thursday. Congratulations. And next up are our Young Writers winners. Ruben Williamson. Congratulations. Trent Doherty. Allie Allen. Madison DeWitt. Daisy Pullums. And Carson Gibbs. Yeah. What were everybody's stories about? You learned about Christmas this year? I love Christmas. You guys want to seat up here? Oh, yeah. Hey, Dale, you want to give me the I'll get that. Congratulations. And thank you, parents, for bringing these kiddos in. Yours was math, right? Yeah.
This is what's that, okay? I should that. Oh, it's not that bad. I'm just gonna show you. It's not that much bigger. Be around here. I'm in here. Just get around there. That's what call it.
Okay.
That's what call it.
We have a couple sign in for delegations. First is Pamela Thompson from the Mason County Library.
I'm Pamela Thompson from the Mason County Library, and it's that time of year again. We're working on budgets, as I'm sure you all are, and I just made it short and sweet. Our grants and aid that we get from the state has to be matched on the county level. And as you can see with what we've got from our local funding, we've still got $61,098 to match, not to get cut the $133,948. We've been fortunate to get grants to get us through, but every year it's the same thing. So I'm just wanting you all to consider the library when you get ready to make your budget to see if there's any monies available. We do a lot of things for the students in Mason County and for the kids in Mason County. And the one highlight we had this year was we got a major grant to provide books and food. And so we asked the county commission to borrow their van, and they let us use it. We didn't pay, the grant paid the gas for us to hire one person to help Cindy from the staff to go over. For 11 weeks, we went every Wednesday all over the county. We drove 1,259 miles. We saw 620 kids. We gave away 1,411 books and 5,844 meals. This was one day a week, but we always had a line. Anywhere we went, and like I said, we tried to go to local spots all over the county so that it would be easier for the parents or the kids to get there. One of the places was like the New Haven pool, and that was always a lot, but she would have to stop at the library twice during all of that run to reload that we had that many. And all of that was paid for by a grant. So if you would consider funding, we would sure appreciate it. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Next up are Steve Richardson and Brent Herford from the Mason County Career Center. Who has a delegation or report this evening?
We didn't know which we were supposed to sign up for. Whichever is most meaningful.
They're both me.
Okay.
So what are they gonna be? Are they wanting us to respond or?
They're signed up as delegation, I was contacted, they want to be on the agenda, I don't think.
Because this is the summon, she says delegations or reports.
I get a report of
We-
the house.
We would like for you to respond, but we understand if you cannot.
Our president makes a report, we don't get it.
We'll call it a report.
Okay.
There you go.
Good evening. My name is Steve Richardson. I have Brent Herford with me and Cheryl Moore. We also have members of Mason County Youth Wrestling here tonight supporting a new structure that could be built adjacent to Mason County Career Center. This would be a large 6,000 square foot multi-use facility. The reason why it's so important for us at Mason County Career Center to have this is because we currently cannot house all of our students for any type of meeting that we need to or want to have. We have completers luncheons, which we have to have outside, or we have to cancel and reschedule. We have National Technical Honor Society, which we currently have to go to Point Pleasant High School and have those because we invite parents in from the community for that. We have career and technical student organizational meetings that could happen there. We currently have Skills USA, which is a large organization in our building, and we cannot house all those students at once. We currently have to divide them up into two groups and have a morning session and an afternoon session. So this would allow us to be able to do those types of things. In addition, we could hold competitions there. A part of career and technical education has competition opportunities with other career centers. We currently do not have the ability to hold any of those types of competitions because we don't have the center to house those types of things. We could have community meetings there. You know, we currently have, for example, the sheriff's department, they come to our building several times a year and they have their meetings. And we have to displace teachers and move them to other classrooms so that they can crowd into a small area for them to meet. This would give them a larger area for them to do that without displacing our current teachers. We could have training sessions there. We could have our advisor meetings there. And then I'll also mention Mason County Youth Wrestling Association because they are currently housed at Central Gym. And we have the understanding that the desire is for it to be sold. And if it gets sold, then that displaces them. They have nowhere to practice or have their youth meets. And currently they have wrestlers, young wrestlers from every part of the county. All elementary schools are in the county are represented in that organization. There's about 140 young persons that currently are involved in that organization. So this would give them a large facility to where they could practice and have their meets and do the types of things that they currently need to do that they would not have the ability to do if Central Gym is sold. We have worked with several people in the community. It's amazing when you start talking about this, how much community support you receive. We understand that there's a process, there's a bunch of logistics that you have to go through. We know that you have to create drawings, and McKinley Architecture has to approve those drawings. I've gone through that process before. We currently have work-based learning opportunities where our students are required by state policy to go out into the community and work. This would give them the opportunity to do that. If this building was built, they would actually be a part of building this building through these work-based learning opportunities with student supervision from adults from our career center. We know that we need to source the materials and the contractors. We've already been working on that. We do have some hard numbers. We're still working on some others. We know that we need to calculate the heat loads and electrical loads for that. That's all things that we can do in-house. We have those abilities. we will make sure that all current building codes are followed and met so that the building is built according to the current codes for state and local. Plus, we know that we have to meet state fire marshal codes. I've gone through that process before. So financially, we are hoping to get your approval to be able to use funding from the sale of Central Gym to help pay for this. We also have funds from grants that are currently available to us. We've already spoken to Stephen Littlepage, who is interested in providing us grant money. We've also spoken to Mario Liberatore, who is interested in providing us grant money. We have spoken to the Mason County Youth Wrestling Organization, who is willing to fundraise to help pay for this facility. So we probably don't have all of our funds in place yet, but we could be pretty close if we were given the opportunity to use the Central Gym money once it's sold. So these are some of the numbers that are set in stone that we have concrete numbers for so far. Excavation, footing and foundation, water drainage, and finished floor, which the finished floor would be concrete. That total for materials and labor is $108,000. We have that quote in writing. We do have a company willing to come in and place a metal structure that's all turnkey. They provide the walls, the roof, the finished outer surfaces for that. That total comes in at $93,000. We are currently trying to get a quote on the brick veneer face because, as you'll see in a video in a minute, the face of the building would be aligned with the face of the Career Center. So we would want people to see it from the road and it to look nice, just like the other buildings do. So I'm estimating that cost would be about $20,000. We don't have that back as a hard number yet. The mechanical, the building mechanical, so the HVAC, the electrical, any welding that needs to be performed, any fabrication, we can all perform that in-house with our students. So that aligns with the work-based learning opportunities. So labor would not have to be considered for that aspect. So we have calculated that it's going to take about $40,000 for the HVAC, electrical, plumbing, miscellaneous manufacturing, and fabrication to take place to accommodate that. And then there will be some miscellaneous things that we're not thinking about, but we've covered a lot of the major things that will have to be accomplished. We still have to make decisions on what the interior finishes would be. We want it to be a durable interior finish so that it can be used for things and not have to worry about being torn up. So we would think maybe a stained concrete floor. We don't know what type of walls yet, but we definitely probably want a drop type ceiling with LED lighting, state-of-the-art technology abilities, that type of thing. We would generate a timeline breakdown for you if this was approved, and we would keep you, we would allow you to be notified as to what step we are on and how we are going, and to show you that we can stay on budget and on time with creating this building, because I know that's a big part of it. I know that in the past, when I was a part of building the baseball building, the big concern was that we would get halfway through the project and run out of money and it wouldn't be finished. So we understand that we don't want that to happen, and we would not allow that to happen. We know that finally we would provide a final checkoff list, take care of electrical inspections, final fire marshal inspection, and then certificate of occupancy to make sure that it's approved before we start using it. I know how to do all those steps. I've done all those steps before with the baseball building, so I understand that process. My students have so far designed all of the buildings that are on the site with the proposed new building. They did it as 3D models. We put it into a rendering software. We created a short video for you. We couldn't do everything we wanted to with the video because even with the computers we have in my room, we kept crashing the computers because it takes a lot of power to do this. But I have a quick video I want to show you, and then If anyone else wants to speak, or if you have questions that you want to ask, we could open up the floor to that. So can we start that real quick?
Let's see. Right here.
If you would click full screen before you start, and then just play.
Okay.
It doesn't have any sound. We couldn't get that far with it. But basically, you're coming up on Mason County Career Center. You see our new state-of-the-art sign. And then you turn and you go down the drive that takes you up to Mason County Career Center. As you're coming up, you turn right, and you come to the Mason County Career Center. Then we focus on the face of the building as it is existing, the way it currently looks. And then we're going to take you on the journey back down to the left to show you what could be at the end of Mason County Career Center. So we could have a 6,000 square foot multi-use building, brick veneer to match the rest. And then we could take you inside and show you the top possibilities inside. Now, this is where we ran out of memory with our computer. So we wanted to show you a bunch of opportunities that could happen inside the Mason County Career Center building, but unfortunately, we don't have powerful enough computers yet.
I mean, I'm impressed with this.
So just keep in mind that everything had to be created as a 3D model in Revit. My students did all of that work. And then they put this into the rendering software and they rendered it to the point where you see it now. If we had the computer capability, we could make this look almost like it's real life.
Question.
Yes.
Is there a plan or no plan?
Well, so you really have to be watching. So that doesn't show a really good view of it, but it's about 12 feet away from the adjacent building. That's been done on purpose. It helps you with fire marshal codes and other state codes if you don't connect them. So we could build the building and get it approved for occupancy. And then eventually we could put a breezeway from one to the other so that they could still be close, but not connected. We purposefully placed it at this end of the building because you have culinary at that end of the building. So if you had a meeting that required dinners to be provided, they just wheel them right out and right into the side door because there would be a side door.
About the door, if you had something going on.
We had a side door so you could run straight into that. So we planned it there on purpose. We just didn't want to connect it because of code restrictions. Because that creates a whole new problem if you connect it.
I just, personal opinion, I'm just so impressed that you guys have put the work and thought into this, and I think it's even more fantastic. I mean, it's a CTE building, so it serves the whole county, and the fact that you recognize another organization that serves the entire county, you know, you guys have clearly worked together, and, you know, I love it.
I'm just saying, like I said, I've been on here 9, 10 years, whatever it's been now. And I've seen projects that Mr. Richardson, Mr. Herford, Mr. Bonecutter, buildings that they've put together, and they're beautiful. So you can have a better committee here together. I mean, look at the work you've already done. I'm very impressed. I think it'd be a great addition for Mason County. Of course, it always runs into money. We know that. Looks like you're already on the ball looking for grants. Whatever we, in my opinion, I'm only one, whatever we need to do to get this central moving, I'm all game for me. If we can get it on an agenda to further discuss, whatever we need to do to get with Central going. I've been to Central the last couple of weeks with wrestling. Every time I go down there, you look at the air conditioning, they've already ripped the copper out. The place needs to go, and that's just my opinion. So if we can get a move on there with enough support, I support you in every way.
Well, and it is such a need, you know, you mentioned like the completers luncheon, I mean, we've all attended those, and the Technical Honor Society. I attended one, I think maybe the auditorium was in use at point, and so we were back in the parking lot. It was still super nice, but you know, the sun's in your eyes, and parents are trying to see kids and hear what names are called. And I think when you guys have to use the auditorium, for lack of your own facility, that feeds more into the fact that in general, there's a large population that feel like Mason County Career Center and Point Pleasant Junior Senior High School are the same school, and they're not. Also, I mean, it could possibly, I don't know what I know, like Point Pleasant rents out their commons area, things like that, like that can be a source of some revenue for the school too, to rent that building for events or baby showers, parties, that kind of thing. On the brick, I just had a quick question, just a thought, because I talked to somebody about this recently. Does Buckeye Hills still have I know they were doing like a masonry program at
Yes.
one point. I didn't know if maybe that
It's-
might be able to help with the brick.
It's interesting you bring that up, because we spoke to Frank Beckner yesterday that owns B Construction, or B Masonry, and so that is a big need, not only in our county, but statewide. He's currently looking for employees. So yes, we should try to find Career Center help from that respect. We also need to, moving into the future, consider that as being something we want to look into in the future of CTE, because he told me that a laborer, all they have to do is carry brick and block and mix mortar, starts out at $25.61 an hour. He said the brick and block layers start out about $40 an hour. And he cannot find any workers to support his company. And he has a big company. He does big commercial projects all over the state of West Virginia. So, maybe we can gain some interest and gain some traction to promote that type of thing.
Somebody had told me, it was a gentleman recently that I think it's like an evening program maybe,
Okay.
that they had started over there. So that may
That'd be,
be able to get some help with the brick if this
Yeah,
goes
that would be
through
awesome.
that way too. I'm wondering how many blocks you have to be able to carry. I'll go for $40 now.
Makes it a dozen words.
And I love, and like Mr. Billings said, I mean, obviously you've kind of covered all your bases and dotted all your i's, crossed your t's, which doesn't surprise me at all. It's wonderful. Did anybody else have anything?
I mean, I can just attest to Central, and I think it is a need to probably try to get rid of it while it's in the condition it is in, because it's not getting any better by any means. We're at the point now where it's either we need to invest money fixing it up or selling it. And I have no problem. I think it's a really good use of funds, actually. Give something to the Career Center that services all through schools in our area.
It kind of kills two birds with one stone.
Yeah,
I'll say thanks for going to get it on the agenda. Or did
Can we have that on the
talk
next
about it?
meeting?
On Saturday, we can talk about it, because it's not our agenda.
The first Tuesday in March on that meeting.
Sure.
Do you have anything to say, Ms. Tennant? All right, so we will, thank you all for coming, and this will be an agenda item on the first meeting in March. to
okay,
discuss.
thank you very much.
Here you go.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'll make sure to reject it before.
No, it's-
Oh my goodness, I didn't want to ruin your.
Let's put those, can we do that?
Probably just be too soon.
To discuss, let's do two separate, one to discuss, Learning Central, and the second to discuss potential CTE building.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Mason County Career Technology Education Center.
Yes. All right. Reports. Family Resource Network, Greg Fowler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This thing working?
Well, it was.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, all right.
She may want to check it for the live. Yep.
Okay, I think it's working. I'll just have to get close to it. Been quite a while since I've been here to give a report. Been a lot going on, and I felt like I needed to come bring you up to date on a number of things that's going on. And I just heard one thing I'm going to address at the end. But I didn't come to speak about that and didn't know about it, but I will address it here in a few minutes. The FRN Prevention Coalition has a lot of programs going on. Like everything else, COVID and some of the things has kind of slowed us down a little bit in one way, and in another way, it's made us more knowledgeable and think outside the box to do things. We even did one of the Mason County Christmases right out front here as a drive-through. We got creative with different things. So anyway, the first thing I want to address, I'll try to be as brief as I can, but some of these things are important, and so I want to go over them. Vape detectors. I just purchased 12 new ones, and I think 7 went to Point Pleasant High School and 5 went to Hannon. I now have purchased and put over 30 in our high schools in the last couple of years. Okay? Now, vaping has become a huge problem. The vape detectors are working. PRO officers are issuing citation. The youth are attending teen court. Okay? All that's good. The problem is we need more participation in teen court. I've been to all the schools where my representative has, one or the other. Getting volunteers, I mean, we give community service hours and everything else for volunteers to come to teen court, and we're having extreme difficulty to get volunteers. Went to Wahama at 2 different assemblies, 9th and 10th, and then the 11th and 12th grades. I asked both those groups, how many of you guys interested in being an attorney? Not one hand came up out of all 4 grades. Not one hand. I mean, we've got youth that's gone through our school system. They've been a practicing attorney in a real court of law and teen court. They've went on to become an attorney, and they're out as attorneys practicing law now. So we proved that our program works, but I need your all's help in figuring out how to recruit and get people to get out and do some things, because we bring them into teen court, then part of what they have to do is sit on the jury at least twice. So I get the jury made up from all the defendants that come in, but to put on a really good teen court, I need really good attorneys. And we're having problems getting attorneys or getting volunteers for youth to be attorneys. Anyway, you guys can help me out or think of a way. It's all good for everybody. And the more peer-to-peer stuff we do, the better off we are. The good thing about it is we're not getting returning youth. So even though I don't think we're doing a good enough job in teen court like we used to, we are being effective because we're not getting return citations. Along kind of the same lines, through the Prevention Coalition and the FRN, we're supposed to have a SAD group in each high school. We always have. We're having really problems establishing SAD groups in each of the high schools. I've got $1,000 for each school each year to give them to set up, start, and operate their SAD groups. And I can't even give them $1,000 away to the schools. So I sent Ronnie Wheeler to all 3 schools, and I've talked to them in here just in the last week. I'm hoping we're making a little bit of progress. The youth that are in these SAD groups, they get to go to, and we pay for them to go to state conference and everything. And they get a lot out of it, plus the school gets funding. But there again, we're having trouble recruiting youth. It's got to the point that youth just aren't real active. It used to be they're into everything. But I'm having a lot of problem recruiting youth right now. Just as a little small note on prevention, have you guys seen the sign we have here on the Shadle Bridge? It comes up, goes off. You guys have anything you want put on there, let me know. It changes, I can change it daily. I can do anything I want with it. So just keep in mind that's there, and if there's anything you want that I can help the school system out with, I will. Another thing I want to bring up, it concerns me a little bit. The commander of the VFW at Mason contacted me. And he's been to all the schools. They want to give scholarships. They gave applications to all the schools and everything. They didn't get one application. He's a little upset about that. I guess I'm wondering, I mean, youth want applications and want scholarships. I'm sure they do. They've got money to give away, nobody wants it. And keep in mind, everybody that applies for a VFW scholarship, the ones that are awarded one, they're all thrown in a hat at the end of the year. One of them gets drawn down and they get a free ride to any college in West Virginia. I mean, that's something to look at. So, there again, you got any ideas for, you know, get people to apply, let me know on that one, but I can take care of it and get their applications. But we're having problems with people doing that.
Can I ask a question real quick? Because I actually looked at one of those applications
Anything.
today with a senior that I've been basically making pick up every application. A parent or grandparent has to be a member of the VFW for that, correct?
I don't know.
I'm almost positive.
I don't think so. I think they're given.
I feel like we put that one in the maybe pile today because I said you need to find out if either of your, you know, grandpas, et cetera, or a member. If you can find out for sure, well, I can look at it again tomorrow.
I found out.
But I'm wondering if maybe that has something to do, I mean, I understand it, but I'm just wondering if maybe that has something to do with lower numbers too, because I'm almost positive it said you got to be the child or grandchild of an active member.
I'll find out. I'll find out. I'll find out.
I didn't read it today, but I had like 5, so, but I'm almost positive that's what that said.
I'll let you know before the evening's
I'm
over.
just wondering, I mean, I know they don't want to change that, but that could be feeding into that too.
He said like he got nobody.
Do
I
what?
know, I'm just saying, I mean, obviously there are members that have kids or grandkids, but I mean, that may be, if lots of kids are picking it up in Point Pleasant High School, but they don't have any relatives that are a member, that could be contributing to the low numbers. Possibly.
I'll find out. I'll let you know. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is our family Christmas and teen institutes. They're going very well. Getting really good participation. They're going well. We had over 300 come through the central building for family Christmas. That's the biggest one we've ever had. As always, I want to thank Kim Burris because she brings her group up there. A lot of you guys have been there and helped out. They gave away hundreds of books. And like I said, we had the biggest attendance we've ever had. They went really well. A lot of good coordination there. I appreciate all of it with everybody. John's gone. The wrestling guys are already good about getting their mats up and getting the place ready when we have our events and everything. And we work really well together. I want to talk about the Fall Teen Institute. We had youth from all the high schools. We brought them in. I got a grant to provide funding to bring Dr. Shannon Smith in. She's from down in the Marshall area. We designed most of the program around prevention, but we alternate classes, and we have one class, and I'm going to get into this a little bit more in a minute, but Workforce brought in a class and we did a VR virtual reality training. So everybody they had an opening that Dr. Smith did. Everybody went to class, rotated through the classes, and then they had a closing that Dr. Smith did. And when they left, I gave them a survey form to fill out, and they all filled that form out. And they liked the VR class more than anything. I'm going to get into that. I'm leading into that now because I think we have a huge opportunity there. But I found that really interesting, and it really engaged the youth, and the youth did really well in it. So to expand into the VR program, I happen to be the chair of Region 4 Workforce Development Board, and it's 9 counties. I've been working with the superintendent some on this. Ms. Moore's been there. She's been in on this a little bit. I think we've got something going that's really going to go somewhere. Yeah, are you guys familiar with the VR program is, what it is and what it does? You put the goggles on, there's training. Companies take and design the training, like when we did Teen Institute, it was just how you change oil in the car. Just a simple thing, they put them on, they went through that little scenario. But we're getting a lot of opportunities for employment here. We've got a vocational school. We've got, Workforce has got this VR program. We've got $1.5 million grant right now to get it started. We're the first people in the state of West Virginia to do this. I can foresee that we could partner, meaning Workforce Development Board, Mason County Board of Education, Newport, some of these new people's coming in. We could use our vocational school, career center. We could institute this program. We could use our underclassmen to train and everything. When they graduated, go straight to work at Newport or wherever these other places are. I think we have an opportunity that we can really explore here. So I want to throw it out and make you all aware of what's going on. And Ashley, if you would pass those, I got a handout. It's just a little small. I thought about bringing something to show, but I didn't want to take up that time. But I do want to tell you, you can take your handouts home and look them over. If you're interested or you think we've got a future in this, Phil Monteroso has been working with superintendent quite a bit, but he's our executive director. I can bring him back if you want to put us on the agenda, and we'll do a PowerPoint and he'll explain the whole program and some of our vision. But I think we have an opportunity as Workforce and as Board of Education and everybody to work together with these new employers, and I think we can feed them youth that's trained and ready to work there. And that, a lot of that's in my head, but you guys look over and think about it, but I think we can go someplace with this. I don't know whether to be upset or not over what I heard from Mr. Richardson. I've got an office and 2 storage rooms in Central. I use all my events and do all my things there. Now, the first thing I will admit is it's pretty much a dump. It can sometimes be a problem, but it's essential to me. I mean, all the stuff I do with the youth, all the stuff I do here with the board, my events, Mason County Christmas, all goes through Central. So don't forget about me if you sell it. I had the opportunity to win here, Jared. Been a long time, but that's looking good. If there's any extra room in there for an office or something, keep me in mind. I appreciate being at Central. I appreciate all the opportunity, and I fully understand if it needs to go, but I would like a heads up because I got probably $100,000 worth of stuff in there. I have to figure out what to do with it. So I'm not saying anything against it, but it's essential to me at the present time. All right, I think other than that, I want to thank the superintendent. He's worked really, really well with the FRN. He's worked really well with the Regional Workforce Development Board. I really appreciate his cooperation. I hope that the programs that I'm making available and the coordination we're doing with the board and the youth and how I'm being able to get the grant money I take and put fake detectors in schools and things like that. Of course, you know, I have a lot of feelings for the board and the participation, and I'm going to work to help our school system all I can. So I appreciate your all's time, and if you have any questions, I'm open.
Go ahead. Just on the vapes, like I said, I hear it all the time. We've got a major issue, but I'm glad to hear, we don't hear much how effective they are. I'm glad that you brought that to our attention, that they are being effective. Get a lot of citations out of it.
Everything's working. I mean, the system's working the way we set it up with the vape detectors. The system's working. We had a new sheriff, we had a new prosecuting attorney, and I had to kind of do a little maneuver around, really educating or whatever, but we're really on track now. The PR officers are writing the tickets. They're coming to team court. We're conducting team court, and we're being affected because they're not coming back. I mean, that's how you gauge it.
Sure.
We just need more youth involved in that court process. I don't know. I don't really want to say maybe we could take the court to the school, because if you take them in a room and youth comes out, people see who's coming out, that might not be a good thing. But we got to figure out a way, or really need to figure out a way to get our youth involved. If they can be a practicing attorney in a real court of law, that's something for youth, you know? And other than that, they need community service officers to come and sit on the jury. It's interesting.
Sure.
Participation is a problem.
Problem, sure. Well, I appreciate on that, the bait detectors. I mean, that's key.
I personally have gone to Wahama and spoke to all the students there on vaping, explained it. I don't know how much good it did, but you know.
If you can help one, that's worth it.
Yeah.
I see a lot of different, in the hospital, was working in respiratory, the vaping, what it can do to you. So if it helps one, it's worth it all.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing. They say the starting age now is around 8 years old. I just can't, I have a hard time understanding that, but I'm learning it.
Yeah.
But I'm doing all I can to help.
I appreciate it, really do.
You know?
Just have a couple questions. As far as like recruiting kids for teen court, I know you said you went to Wahama, like who's the recruitment falling on, I guess? You or one of your representatives going to the school? Are we depending on, or hoping like counselors will help with that? Like where's the recruitment coming from?
I make my connection with the principals. Now, Missy Van Meter has me come up and talk to the whole group and everything, but it kind of falls on the principal or the counselors to try to encourage, whether it be volunteers for teen court or whether it be establishing a SAG group in the school. SAG group, peer-to-peer, is one of the best ways in the world to influence these youth.
I was going to ask about that too. Like, is there somebody set as an advisor for SAD at each school that should be trying to help recruit, or how does that work?
They should be a SAD advisor at each school. Now, the really true SAD advisor we had was Richard Sargent. He was awesome. At Point Pleasant High School, he retired. And we've lost everything we had there now. So I'm struggling with it. I mean, I go to the principals. I've sent Ronnie Wheeler, he's our prevention coordinator. I've sent him to all 3 schools. In fact, he's been to schools this week. But we're not getting very far. It lays on the principal and the counselors, really. Somebody needs to step up to the plate and be an advisor and then organize the youth, and we can go from there. We can provide help as to how to set up the programs, what to do. And like I said, I got $1,000 for each school. I'm not giving $1,000 to the school to somebody participates.
So not all schools have a SAD advisor right now, or they do?
Hannon's trying, they indicated yesterday, I believe it was, that they named somebody to be an advisor and they're trying to get things organized. I don't know where we're at all, Point Pleasant. And we had a youth at Wahama that's been really good. He's a senior this year, but I guess he's studied from home or something. He's not much involved anymore. So we kind of lost where we were at there too.
If I think of any ideas, I'll just shoot you an email. I have a 15-year-old, and obviously she doesn't tell me 100% of everything, but I feel like I get about 99%, and she's never mentioned SAD or teen court.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that she's ever heard of either, so that's where I was wondering, where
That's my concern.
recruitment kind of falls. So
That's exactly where my concern. You have to ask the principals. They're all aware, I'll guarantee you. I know they got a lot of other stuff to do. I understand all that, but these things are important to our youth.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for all that you do.
All right, I'll keep doing it as long as I can.
If I have any ideas, I'll shoot you an email.
If you're gonna kick me out of Central, give me a heads up, please.
We will let you know. We won't let the wrecking ball come in and destroy your stuff. We'll let you know.
Hey, I appreciate this lady too, because she does the meals for the Teen Institute. She takes care of the youth. So, it's good to see y'all.
See ya.
Need more than a box.
All right, financial report from Gary Hendricks.
I put a January report by each of your spots up there. Just like last month, I'm just going to give you a recap. During January, bus parts, diesel, and those are my biggest concerns about extra budgeting for next year. And the general fund, which kind of is what I go with. It's on track to maybe not spend all its money this year, mostly because of salaries being picked up through ARP ESSER Fund 71. Other than all this chart, I think maybe next time or time after, I'll try to put you some graphs, pie charts or something besides all these numbers just staring across. Something, you'll have this, but something just to grab your eye too. I'm just thinking a quick snapshot here, it might be beneficial. From last time to now, we've only been a couple of weeks, but any questions on where we were in December and where we are now? The big budget departments are what I'm going to meet with here really soon, and that would be child nutrition, transportation and maintenance. And then based on that, there's one thing on this that doesn't reflect, and that's going to be the insurance for liability next year. They gave us a range of 155% to 220. And as it turns out, after asking for some more details, our liability policy will increase 216% for next year. And that's on top of what went up this year. And this is because it's a statewide pool, we have to belong to it. And there have been some very big payouts in the last 3 years, more to come. It's not a reflection on Mason County Board of Ed per se, but we're in the big pool, so we pay.
When does that go into effect?
Yeah, July 1.
They just let us know.
They did in December with, well, it's January. But last year, they let us know May 26th or so that it would be going up July 1 of last summer. And I called and said, hey, the premium notice looks wrong. That's how we found out that it was going up for this school year. I think ours went up $90,000 this year.
So what is the dollar amount on 216%?
Oh, Dr. Burdette, do you remember what?
I believe you said it's gonna be somewhere around 600,000.
Combined, it'll be 600 for
My
liability.
question is, what is this pool? You said it's a statewide pool, and I was told all the money was spent out to a private school. How was a private school in a public school? That's why everybody's benefits went up, because they're paying 2 or 3 schools, it's private schools or something.
Mr. Shobe, that's maybe something for our local representatives to check out. How would a private entity, anyway, I heard that too. And that was a few years ago. Of course, the news has settled down a little bit now, but Berkeley County, Kanawha County, and there's more to come. But it would take a collection of school systems to go together and ask, Bram, how protect us. I don't know if any bills currently, I don't know if they made it, in legislative session would be to protect us, in 2 years. That's all the executive director of Brim had to tell me in an email, was they thought they would try to get some legislation in place to protect us in future years, but for now,
So roughly $400,000 in 2 years
yes,
is what it's gone up. That's insane.
our entire property, liability, cyber, all of it was 280,000 for FY '22 last year. This year it's 380. We're gonna be in the 650 to 675 range next year. And that did not come out anywhere on the state aid funding. No, well, sorry, we're gonna add a little extra. No, that didn't happen.
A little extra. Turned 16%.
Now, Brim, there's only one in West Virginia, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Billings, it's in law. We're a governmental agency. We have to, in the liability piece. But that's the biggest chunk here. Property, and school buses have to be insured through Brim. But some of our property is through a private, but we pay the premium to Brim, and the private agency gets some kind of cut of that premium, but that's peanuts.
One of the meetings I attended, what they had said, other states, if they would look elsewhere, are even higher. That was said in one of the
Oh,
meetings.
well, it may be. Maybe strength in all these numbers.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's just like, well, another agency that plays a big role, PEI, possibly, I don't know, we may pay a little bit more employer share as early as next year. We don't know that yet. Wow.
Any more good?
I'm gonna
news?
have a positive, something for you someday. Any
Fingers
questions?
crossed. I don't have any. You guys have any questions?
Thank you.
601, recommend the board approve the regular business meeting agenda number 22-30 of the Mason County Board of Education, February 28, 2023, at the Mason County Board of Education office, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, for the purpose of conducting regular business.
Motion.
Motion, Mrs. Boonhutter.
Second, Mr. Stowe.
Discussion. We're going to be pulling 701, 902, 903, and 12. Do you have anything else, Mr. Stowe?
I thought I did,
Mr. Billings?
Yeah, I got, so you don't have to read them all, even if you have them on 1105, I just had a question on one of them, check it over. And then 1106, yes, that's it.
Mrs. Boonhutter?
No.
So we'll be voting on everything except 701, 902, 903, 1105, 1106, and 12. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. 701, recommend the board approve a resolution to participate in the Purple Star Award Program. Motion, Mr. Billings. I'll second it. Discussion.
All right, thanks. I want to take just a minute and explain a little what this is. If you're not familiar with it, the Purple Star Award is a designation that gets assigned to schools which display a special commitment to supporting military children and their families. And Department of Education works along with some military families and so forth. And if a school wants to be designated as this, then there are certain activities that they will do to try to help support children of those who are in the military. Point Pleasant High School has applied to get this distinction, but one of the things that needs to happen prior to receiving this is the Board of Education needs to approve a resolution which basically says they're enhancing collaboration with military organizations and providing supports for military families. And if you choose to approve this, then actually the other schools in the county can also apply for this if they so choose. but it does require the county to approve a resolution before a school can be designated as a Purple Star Award school. And what they do is they apply for this, their application is reviewed, and if it's approved, then they receive that designation and certificate and so forth. That's what this is about.
Anybody have any thing to say? Are we good to sign?
Yes.
All right, so then back to the main motion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. I'll add at the end. 902, recommend the board provide a statement on the superintendent's evaluation. Motion, Mr. Billings, second, Mr. Shoeb. Discussion, we just pulled this basically so we could read the statement out loud since I got it in a little late today. So the statement will read, the Mason County Board of Education has completed the evaluation of the superintendent, Dr. Keith Burdett, for the 2022-2023 school year. The board affirms that Dr. Burdett has met the goals set forth last year. The Board of Education affirms that we are moving in the correct direction to enhance learning and development of Mason County students, and also realizes that there are areas for continued development and opportunities for further enhancement. We believe that with total collaboration between school building staff, service personnel, central office staff, and our 5-member Board of Education, we can continue to progress our system. So, main motion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. 903, recommend the board discuss and take possible action on the superintendent's contract. Motion, Mr. Billings.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Bonecutter. I was going to ask for an executive for that one, so I want to know if you guys want to be okay to move it till the end, because it'll be a no action item. Just move that to the end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
1105, recommend the board approve the ratification of orders issued, transfers and supplements, check numbers 115299 through 115465. The total amount of $1,394,921.07. Motion, Mr. Billings.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Bonecutter. Discussion?
Yeah, I was just going through there. I just had just a question on one of the check numbers. I don't know if Mr. Hendricks may have it out or. The check number is 115325. It was to Subway, an amount of $273.49. I was just curious what that was for.
Mr. Billings, I can be right back, but it sounds like it was for a gear up.
Okay, I was just curious.
In this list, real quick, I couldn't even find the check. So, you know, was it 130 or something?
27.
What was it?
The amount you said?
$273.49.
All right, yeah.
That's fine. I was just curious what those.
Okay, we'll wait.
You don't want to do that, honestly. I get the file, go and find it.
Can we just come back to it when he's got it?
Yeah, we do that.
Sure. 12, superintendent's report.
You know, let's-
Oh, let's skip 1106. Recommend the board approve the ratification. That's what you get for. Recommend the board approve the ratification of check number 115466 to Jared Billings in the amount of $299.78. Motion, Mr. Shedd. Second, Ms. Bonecutter. We should have had him grab that one out of the file cabinet too. Discussion.
I'll make a discussion. I'm going to stay, but mine is for reimbursement for the winter conference at the school board association that we go to for training hours. It's for reimbursement for my hotel room and the mileage, so y'all know. And I will be abstaining.
I believe you approved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0-1 with Mr. Billings abstaining.
You voted for it?
Yes,
I think she voted for it.
I think she did.
Mr. Billings says thank you, Mrs. Tennant. Then we'll move on to superintendent's report while we wait for Mr. Hendricks.
Okay, just a few things to mention to you. As you saw when we recognized some students up there, we have some students participating in the State Science Fair on Monday in Charleston. And you know, that's a very exciting thing for me because I know the county hadn't had a science fair for a few years. And you know, so we get a science fair started, and now we have a bunch of regional winners who are going to compete in Charleston. So I'm really excited about that for them. And you recognize some county math field day winners. We have those students in participation next Thursday at Marshall University. In 2 days, this Thursday, we will be hosting the Regional Social Studies Fair. And students from Cabell, Wayne, and Mingo and Mason counties will be participating in that. So Cabell, Wayne, Mingo, and Mason will be here, and we'll be holding that in the event center next door. Cincinnati flooring is laying the floor at the Hannon Junior Senior High School gym, and all the underlayments in place, and probably about half, I'd say a third to a half of the playing surface, and it actually should all be in place by the end of this week. And of course, then there's finishing and painting, but they're coming along real well with that. At the March 14th meeting, I'll be recommending the board adopt a school calendar for 23-24. We have surveyed parents and staff, and I'll have the results for that and make a recommendation to you at the March 14th meeting. Also looking ahead at that meeting, that's when we will have a special meeting at 5:30 that evening for the laying of the proposed levy rates for the coming year. And then that will be followed up with a continuation of that meeting on the third Tuesday in April as we approve those rates. And of course, still a lot of sporting events going on with the winter sports. And I think that actually Wahama and Point Pleasant High School boys basketball are playing basketball tonight, maybe at this moment, or getting ready to, in the, are we still sectionals? Yeah. So we're in sectionals. And then, of course, state wrestling tournament is this Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, thank you. Weigh-ins on Thursday?
No, there's a session Thursday.
Okay. Thursday evening, Friday, and Saturday. And I know that, I think Point has maybe 11 participating, and I think Wahama has 4 students participating in the state tournament. So wish them well and all that. And that's all I have. Short and sweet. Mr. Hendricks is back.
Yeah, we'll circle back to
I'm
11:05.
gonna wipe the mayonnaise off your mouth there. You reach for that Subway check. I'm teasing.
If you got a cookie, bring it up here.
I wish. Okay, well, I was wrong. This
Oh,
was,
hold on, Mrs. Timmons, thanks.
where are we
Hold
back
on,
to?
just a sec, Rhonda. Get your
12:05?
on mic here. 11:05.
11:05.
No, we were just talking about, at 5 o'clock.
We haven't got to that point where we're actually talking about the meeting
Well,
dates with you.
she means because this is scheduled at 5:30, there would have been a rec meeting scheduled at 5.
Yeah, so, I mean, that would be pretty much, that's really not not really designated as an official
She just
meeting.
this is kind of-
Question, I agree. So I mean, I think the rec meeting, you have to decide whether you want to go with a 4:30 to 5:30 that evening, or if you want to move it to the 28th.
Okay, well, we'll look to see what's on the 28th, to see what we can do.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Mr. Hendricks.
Back to the question. So here's the invoice from Subway. So the purchase order is, we're using, well, step 7 funds for academic competition supplies. It looks like it was delivered on February 2nd. Probably to this building.
Which was the
Regional Science Fair.
Regional Science Fair.
Science Fair.
And we had judges back here and all that.
Just curious.
So there was kind of judges figured, I think, over that way.
Okay. I just, like I said, just threw me off a little bit, so I just wanted to check. It's always good to check and make sure.
And even though it was only 3 weeks ago, it was
Very deep.
it's gone from my mind, but
Yes.
thank you.
You also said you had to dig around to find Mr. Billings' check, right?
Yeah.
It's also very
Keep
deep.
looking, keep finding.
So back to that main motion, 1105. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. So we'll go back to 903. We're gonna go to executive for that, but we won't come back and take action on anything, so we can go ahead and cut the live feed then. We'll just come back, only come out to adjourn.
We need a motion to go to executive session.
I'll make a motion to go.
Motion, Ms. Smokecutter. Second, Mr. Billings. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion passes 5-0. We're in at 7:18. I used to have one right here. We're out of here.
Thanks, Christine.
You owe me, Kenny.
I know it.
Ashley, you want me back? You can just leave it here, I'll pick it up.
That's all, I appreciate it. Only my nose is really cold now. I think I've become acting.
It's clean,
I believe it. Thank you.
it's warm.
Jared said that.
It's no good, sorry.
Jared, you can wrap it around and keep your